Hey everyone, welcome back to the DreamHack Open featuring Fortnite, where we are taking a look at the month of August. And yesterday we had two incredible heats where we found the top 750 players that are going to compete today. So that means 1,500 players are going to be competing in the semifinals, and it's going to whittle down to 100. But we'll talk more about that later. Joining me here, it is Fallout and Sundown. Guys, we had a bit of a long night last night, so how are you feeling today, Fallout?
Feeling energized. I'll tell you right now, 1,500 players, and we're just going through and talking as a team here about some of the players competing today. The list alone gets me energized. I don't even need gameplay. We have the likes of Arkham trying to go for the back-to-back DreamHack Open Championship. We have Epic Will trying to stop that from happening. We got Booga, who qualified as well. 1,500 top caliber players. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and Sundown, we have a player, Lithy, who we talked a little bit about earlier, taking first place in the first heat. How do you think we're going to see him perform?
Alethi, honestly, I really hope he's able to bring that performance back to the semifinals. When he's able to play at the top of the game, he's somebody who's incredibly dangerous, and his highs are incredibly high. If he can keep that momentum rolling, I'm excited to watch him. I'm also excited to see if Tavern's going to be able to continue to press forward and kind of push up and challenge towards that top spot. We saw him able to edge out Arkham in that first heat right at the very end after Arkham pretty much led wire to wire, so much so that he turned his stream on midway through. It's kind of a victory lap celebration, but got passed right at the end.
Yeah, maybe turning on his stream cost him a little bit there, but getting second place in the heats is definitely no small thing to do. And if you guys unfortunately missed the incredible action that we had yesterday, well, don't you worry, because we have a recap for you.
Month 2 of the DreamHack Open has started, and we're already into day 2. Day 1 was crazy. There was heartbreaks, there was close calls, qualifications. Now we got the 1,500 in semifinals, and we're going to narrow that down to 100 today. But let's take a look at what happened yesterday and what all unfolded.
Really not seeing the misses he was doing earlier. Now going up, 360 charge shotgun, finds it! Oh my God! Shockwave goes up, 360, not quite gonna find it. Shock pad goes up. Oh, this could be dangerous. Wants to find the victory. Going to Shockwave launcher, back towards the zone, and he gets it. 15 eliminations and the victory royale.
Two more players could be fighting for their life. Jay's fighting for some fun. He has some floppers, he has some minis. He's big chilling right now in the storm. Doesn't matter where he is, because he's just going to knock everyone out of the game and basically secure himself a little bit of a heel-off win. Jay Rose is making it look easy. Not a boo-boo, says Jay, as he's going to connect for the very last elimination. A victory royale to close it out.
His mats have run out, but his accuracy is still there. Bucky's looking to wrap things up, a big 130 shot, followed by, I would assume, the finisher in a mere amount of seconds. There it is.
This is going to go to full close, but I think the player underneath is completely out of builds, which means as long as he just shoot replaces, Rich Homie Quinn should win this fairly easily. But nope, going to jump to the outside, double shotgun, follow it up. Just so absurdly accurate with his charge shots, but now great hip fire into the charge swap as well. Quinn not missing a single bullet of that spread right there, not able to necessarily find the shot there on the cone, but great positional advantage. 2 players left. He is one of them. The opponent across from him has the glider grapnel gun, so will get the positional advantage. No builds left. So this is the OK Corral, and it's Rich Homie Quinn side, and he says that was a little too easy.
Rich Homie Quinn definitely representing there. And I love the music that they have for those recaps. It definitely makes it super hype. And we're going to have even more incredible hype games today. But before we get into that, I do want to remind everyone the top 20 that we saw from heats 1 and 2 to see what those top players are. And something that I like to say every time that we talk about this is that the players that do well in the heats could possibly not even make it into the grand finals. But here we have it from heat number 1. As we were saying, Turtle Tavern beating out Arkham, who had like 100-point lead for the first half of the game, ends up beating him out by 40 points. And then of course we have Strobe. Andrew is user 716, correct?
Correct.
Possibly? Okay, good. There we go. Tao Tai, who we all know and love, Buck Tees and 6, Epic Whale, and then a bunch of other names that you guys are probably familiar with. But moving on to heat number 2 there.
And as you can see with heat number 2, popping in Alethi, as we talked about earlier, 519 points on the back of 230 of them being eliminations. Pure Chris in second. Jay Rose is the FNCS Season X winner in third there. 50 Cal Blizzy, Kenshi rounding out the top 5. And we saw really solid performances, but the one thing to note in particular is Riverson sitting there in 20th. Once you kind of got off that page, it was really, really, really close from that top 20 all the way down to the top 750. It was just under 100 points less to qualify, which all of these players were more than capable of getting. So I anticipate today going from the top 1,500 down to 100 players. It's going to be a really close call on that 100 to 101 line.
Yeah, and something that we also need to shout out is that there was a Cash Cup that morning, and there were some of the players that not only competed, but won in the Cash Cup and then continued on later on in the tournament for the DreamHack Open. I think we even saw Scented fail to qualify in Heat 1, and then obviously we saw him in the top 20 for Heat 2 there. But Fallout, endurance is the name of the game, especially today. This is the first time that we're actually having the semifinals and the grand finals all in one day. How is that going to impact the players?
Yeah, it's a good call. Endurance and its big brother or big sister, consistency is going to be key here. Because like you said, you could have placed in the top 20 yesterday. That means nothing. We have to start from scratch. You got to keep that consistency up today. You also have to have the endurance today, much like we saw yesterday from people that played in Heats 1 and 2 or the Cash Cup and Heat 2. You're going to have to perform in the semifinals. And guess what? You got a grand final coming right after. That's where it matters. That's where the money is going to be made. So top 100 from the 1,500 players will make it to the grand final, where we have a 6-game final casted by Bala and Shio. It's going to be great.
Ooh, it's going to be really great. But how did we get to the grand finals, which is already here today? Well, if you guys are joining us just now and you want to know a little bit about the tournament structure, well, that's what I'm here for, everyone. Hundreds of thousands of players, including yourself. Chat, if you want to be a part of the DreamHack Open for any of the 3 regions that we have, you can sign up for all 3 regions, even if you're not a part of that region. Those hundreds of thousands of players are going to whittle down to the top 750 per their heat. So with 2 heats moving forward to today in the semifinals, that means that we're going to have 1,500 players competing. They're going to have 3 hours to compete in 10 games and collect as many points as they can through placements and eliminations, with eliminations giving them 5 points each. So very, very important. And then moving on to the grand finals later today, it's going to be 6 games where a super stacked lobby, game after game after game, is going to determine who is going to be walking away with the $250,000 prize pool. And I don't want to say predictions already because it's too early to tell. We haven't even gotten to the semifinals. But Sundown, predictions. Do you have a assumption for who's going to get first place in the grand finals?
So
I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Predictions. Let me hear it.
I would say less predictions and more players to watch in terms of the semifinals, and ones who we can expect both to be on the top and ones who might necessarily have to struggle to qualify or might be pushed a little bit in terms of the top 100. I would say let's keep an eye on Alithi in terms of someone who might be right on that border, because while he had a really strong performance in day 2, I would say that's probably the higher end of his spectrum, and getting in the top 100 is going to be a little bit of a push for him, especially considering the names we saw. And then in terms of the very top end of the ladder, what's going to happen between Turtle Tavern and Arkham, because we've seen them been going back and forth over and over again.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see how this all plays out. Or who knows, maybe we're going to find a name that we've never even heard of, rise the ranks and become a new Fortnite star. Fallout, any players that you're looking forward to watching today?
Yeah, that's a great call out. I'm looking for that underdog story for sure. That's one of the most beautiful things about this DreamHack format. Anyone can enter, anyone can play. Doesn't matter what region you're from or where you're from. We've seen some European players infiltrate. I think 1 or 2 European players may have qualified through as well, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Got to show some love to my EU brethren and sistren. However, a couple of players in general I'm looking out for. We have the Sentinel squad. We got Booga, and of course we have Animal, Aspect, all 3 qualified. We got Hogman. I'm a big fan of Hogman. I'm excited to see what he can do. Some of the old school names. I know Punisher qualified through as well. I want to see what they can do. Safaru, former Ghost Gaming member, is going to be qualifying through. Rich Homie played really, really well yesterday as well. So a lot of key players. I'm really excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, one of those players you mentioned, Hogman, maybe you guys have heard about him, or maybe you haven't. Well, we have a quick video for you to tell you a little bit more about who Hogman is.
What's up, guys? My name is Hogman, and I'm a part of Team Illuminosity. My performance yesterday was pretty solid. I mean, I was able to get into the top 5 within the first hour and a half. And basically after that, I realized that I pretty much already qualified. So, since there's not really a prize pool, and I think first place had like 100 points over me, I was just like, whatever. I just sat back and coasted and finished out my games and went to bed. Yeah, there's a couple things I'd like to improve on. So with the crash pads being added to Fortnite pretty recently with this season, they're a pretty like clunky type of interface. So sometimes you'll use a crash pad and then it just won't break a build in front of you. So basically trying to kind of like refine that, and hopefully that will be able to carry me a little bit more into late game. And I'm actually playing on super high ping, so I got to be really careful with how I move. Benji, who is in EU, actually gets better ping to NA East than I do to get to NA East, and I live in Texas, so it's really funny how that works. My approach to NA West is really simple, just like stay out of the storm, because NOS players just storm push for whatever reason all the time. It's actually crazy. So as long as we can stay out of the storm, keep ahead, and rotate early, I think we'll be safe from all those crazy Californians. Yeah, my family's actually pretty small, but my mom likes to tune in on every other tournament and see how I'm doing. She feels really superstitious though, because every time she tunes in, even if she doesn't say anything in my chat, that I die instantly. I guess that happened yesterday during the Open. So, hopefully she stays away from my stream tonight because I'd like to do well. My expectations for tonight is really just to finish out that qualification, get to the finals. We're in the top 750 right now, so it's going to be a pretty solid competition. And then after that, we're hoping to get into that top 100 bracket and make it all the way to the finals. And this has been Hogman. Thank you guys so much for watching the little feature that we had for this DreamHack semi round, and I'll see you guys out there.
Always love to hear from these players, especially Hogman, who did get 2 victory royales yesterday. He wasn't able to break the top 100, but with it being the top 750 moving forward, you don't necessarily need to be in the top 100 there. But guys, it looks like we're ready to jump into Game 4 of the semifinals of North American West August. Fallout, do you have any predictions or expectations for the first game?
Just expect more of what we saw yesterday, but in times 10. It's going to be on steroids. You're going to see some top-level gameplay. I think we're going to see stack lobbies off a little bit earlier than we saw yesterday. 1,500 players, so it's still a pretty large pool. Expect some of the early games to be a little more W key, a little more aggression, but I think as we get to games 2, 3, and 4 especially, you'll start to see some stackers towards late game.
Yeah, Sundown, something that Hogman said is to watch out for those crazy Californians. Do you think we're going to be seeing some of them today?
Oh, absolutely. There's 2 or 3 in particular who we've seen stand out before. Reet being able to get on top of people, Epic Whale as well, then Arkham Internal Tavern. Again, I think those 4 are really the key front runners, the ones who have the opportunity to be on the high end. But at this point, it's anybody's game.
Yeah. Really excited to see who we're going to see come out on top and what our top 100 players are going to be for the grand finals. But before we get into that, everyone, we do have a quick break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.